where to go from here because I basically had my son removed from a mental health emergency screening unit place. He had an anxiety attack. We had a dispute about something. He had an anxiety attack. He put his hands on me, but he didn't hurt me like I had to go to the hospital or nothing like that. But I knew that it was part of the anxiety attack, so I didn't touch him.
All right, we're back. This is Attorney Vincent Davis, The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win, with my co-hosts this evening, Brian Hamilton and Amanda Cisco. All right, let's take another call, and we're going to talk to Lola down in San Diego. Lola, did you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
Actually, I have both. How are you, Mr. Davis and his guests? First of all, thank you for having me and letting me ask this question because it was just imperative that I try to find out where to go from here because I basically had my son removed from a mental health emergency screening unit place. He had an anxiety attack. We had a dispute about something. He had an anxiety attack. He put his hands on me, but he didn't hurt me like I had to go to the hospital or nothing like that. But I knew that it was part of the anxiety attack, so I didn't touch him. But I did give him the option of going up to the emergency mental health care because they had given him prescription before, and he felt like that might calm him down. I didn't have any current one because he hadn't been getting follow-up care because he hadn't been needing it. And so I took him up there. He goes up there. They put him on a 5150 hold. He's on the hold for approximately 2 days. They called me the second day or the last day of the hold, and they told me that he's ready for pickup. I go to, it was early in the morning. I was at work. They called me at like maybe 12 o'clock. I was working 11 to 7. I do in-home care. So I wasn't able to just jump and leave right there. So I told them then that I probably wouldn't come until like later in the afternoon if I could come before work, before I got off. Okay, I was going to try to take that time and try to get everything done so I can go early. I wasn't able to do that. So when they told my son that I was going to be there at that time and he didn't see me show up, he didn't think I told him that I was doing something. I was like, I'm still working till later. So I was like, just let me get done with what I'm doing because I'm setting up a safety plan for us for when you come home. So I have to make some calls and do some things before I come up there. Yada, yada, yada. So that was it. So he knew what I was doing. And I had made sure that the director of the emergency care knew what I was doing. And then I had asked his doctor if they had given him the prescription. They said no. I said, are you going to give him the prescription? They were like, we can possibly make sure he leaves with it. I said, what have you been doing with him for 2 days if you don't have the prescription? Why has he been on a 5150 hold if you don't feel like he needed a prescription for 2 days? You had to wait until it's time. Well, why do I have to ask you for it? Or what were you doing? If there's no concern for him? Why was he up there? And he was like, well, we were waiting to get the prescription transferred over, yada, yada, yada. He gave me some kind of story. And then he was like, let me call you back. I said, fine. He never called me back. Okay, so when I was ready to go get him at around 7:30 that same evening, just a couple hours after I got off the phone with the doctor, I called up there and told them that I was on my way. And that's when they gave me the number of a social worker and said she had picked him up and was taking him to the place that they take the children that are abused, neglected, or whatever. Okay, so I called this woman and she's en route. She's still in the car talking to me. And she's like, yeah, I have him in the back seat. We just came from getting his COVID checkup. And I asked him if he was hungry. He said no. So everything was fine. She was like, I'm getting ready to take him here. And basically, we're just going to observe him and see what needs he has. Because I was explaining to her, I was supposed to be picking him up. I was just waiting for the doctor to get back with me because they were supposed to be giving him some medicine, whatever. She was like, okay, well, that's fine. We're just going to take him in because they said they could no longer hold him there. And they didn't know that you were coming. I said, no, they did know. Well, they didn't know if you were coming. So basically, we're taking him with us. We're going to go ahead and evaluate him there. If he needs anything, we can provide it, yada, yada, yada. She made it seem like there was going to be a continuance of his medical, I guess, evaluation there. And then let me know that, you know, if I go ahead and set up a safety plan or decide to pick him up previous to them getting back with me, that I can, as long as it was within, I think she said maybe 5 to 7 business days or something like that. Either way, I tried to get my son 3 days later when it came, because it was like on a Thursday. So I called them Monday and told them I was on my way up to that center to pick him up because I had already finished out my emergency plan. He had been there the whole weekend, so they had enough time to either get a prescription for him or for him to calm down from his anxiety, and be able to act a little bit, you know, act right when he came home. So, and then no one was available for me. I couldn't contact the social worker or nobody on the weekend. So I called on Monday, let them know I was coming. They were telling me they can't release my son to me. The social worker was the only person that could do it because she's the one that brought him up there. I said, right, but I'm his mother. And she told me that I can get my son. And she was like, okay, but we can't release him to you because they brought him here. She gave me this excuse, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, fine. So I tried to contact the social worker. She knew then that I had already called them. So she just wouldn't pick up her phone. She kept sending me texts talking about I'm in a meeting. She didn't call me back till 7:30 that evening. Anyway, long story short, they kept my son. They tried to give me a charge of neglect under 300 Section B. And basically they were saying that my son didn't, they were concerned about him not having a place to go up on discharge. So basically they were saying that he was destitute and hungry and, you know, in an emergency care to the point where they had to actually use an emergency one call when that wasn't and shouldn't have been an option coming from one of their facilities. There's no way a child's life is in danger if he's at a county facility on a 5150 hold. And if his life is in danger at that point, they're responsible for his life being in danger because they are the ones who have him on that hold. So if he was ready to be released and they called me at 12:30 that afternoon, I have no idea why he was not able to be released. My son is almost 16 years old. He is not a child. He's a child, but he's an adolescent. So he's old enough to be released the same way he had to sign himself in. So they didn't let him get released. They didn't release him until the CPS came. And then that's when they discharged him. So he was never discharged and neglected because he didn't get discharged till they came. So my thing is that I fought this the whole way. I had 2 attorneys since then, just to try to skip over a lot of stuff. I had 2 attorneys since then. I fired both of them. I did martyrdom hearings on both of them because neither one of them were doing their job. They would not want to share any of the records or the evidence that was being used by the county. They basically just kept telling me to read the report and then anything that I disagree with, to just let them know. First of all, I already know that the report's going to have a lot of lies because that's their job to do that. That's how they try to justify their case. So once I realized
2 minutes,
I stopped being as upset as I initially was, just thinking that they were going to look at reasoning. I understand now that that's not what they do. They don't care about reasoning. It's about being right or wrong, and they're not going to ever try to admit to being right. I mean, being wrong or doing anything wrong. So my thing is that I didn't worry about the report. I knew there were lies, but I knew that I would be able to have enough evidence to disprove all of the allegations. But then I studied the 300B code for under WIC institutions codes, and I realized after reading all of the different subdivisions that I didn't fit any of them. And so I, of course, like I said, I got rid of 2 attorneys. One did try to help me by giving me information. I did also get to the point, and this is very important to tell people, I got to the point for people who really are really trying hard to get their children back. I got to a point where when I was talking to the social worker,
1 minute,
even my attorney, who was designated from the county, because I already know that even though they don't work specifically for the county, they are part of the county.
Hey, Lola.
Anytime you get,
Lola,
yeah. So
I'm sorry.
I just have one question. Let me ask my question. Can I just ask my question real quick? I'm going to just be done with the story. But can I ask my question? Here's what it came to. I had court today for my appeal hearing for the petition. Okay. I was able to basically get to a point where the judge just wanted to call. I was representing